So, friends, a brand new Trump-appointed judge has just shocked Washington. Judge Kyle Dudek, confirmed only 2 weeks ago, has ruled against the Trump administration in a high-stakes immigration case. This is not just a minor courtroom skirmish. It is part of a much larger legal battle over how America enforces immigration laws, and it could have game-changing consequences. The fact that a newly appointed Trump judge would strike at the administration's own policies makes this breaking development even more significant. The case centers on Marvin Hernandez Lopez, a longtime Florida resident, husband, father, and small business owner. Lopez was swept up in a workplace raid and detained without bond. But here's the critical point. He wasn't being held under the right law. Immigration and Customs Enforcement locked him inside the Glades Detention Center using a statute designed for migrants caught at the border. That law requires mandatory detention. But Lopez has lived in the United States since 2013. He wasn't crossing the border. He was living and working in Florida. Judge Dudek ruled, there is a substantial likelihood that Lopez is being detained under the wrong statute. Instead of the law meant for arriving aliens, Lopez should have fallen under a separate discretionary detention law, which would have allowed him a bond hearing and a chance for release. And that's where this case becomes unprecedented, because Dudek, like judges in Michigan, Kentucky, Texas, Maine, and Arizona, concluded that this misuse of mandatory detention is unconstitutional. Let's pause here. The Trump administration has relied heavily on mandatory detention to speed up deportations and limit due process rights. It's been a cornerstone of its immigration enforcement strategy. But federal judges across the country are now pushing back, saying the administration is applying the law far beyond its intended scope. The immediate stakes for Lopez are obvious, whether he stays locked up or is released to his family. But the broader stakes go much further. If more courts follow Judge Dudek's reasoning, large numbers of immigrants held under mandatory detention could suddenly become eligible for bond hearings. That would undercut one of the administration's most powerful enforcement tools. For the Trump administration, this ruling is more than a legal setback. It threatens to unravel a policy framework that has been central to its immigration crackdown. And the irony is striking. The judge delivering this blow is not a so-called radical liberal jurist. He is a Trump appointee, confirmed by the Senate just 2 weeks ago. The language of Judge Dudek's order is sharp. He wrote that Lopez has shown a substantial likelihood of success on the merits. He emphasized that deprivation of constitutional rights constitutes irreparable injury. In other words, keeping Lopez detained without proper legal authority is not just a technical mistake. It is a violation of fundamental rights. That is a powerful rebuke, and it will not go unnoticed. So what happens next? All eyes are now on the Justice Department and the Trump administration's legal team. They may appeal this ruling, but with multiple federal judges already ruling in the same direction, the momentum is turning against them. Immigration advocates are calling these rulings a breakthrough moment, while administration allies warn it could weaken border security and encourage more migrants to challenge their detention. Internationally, this story matters, because U.S. immigration enforcement has always been a signal to the world. When judges step in to block mass detention practices, it sends a message beyond America's borders. It tells migrant communities that legal challenges can succeed. It tells governments in Central America that U.S. immigration law is not a single, unchallenged system, but one that faces internal resistance. And it tells the world that even Trump-appointed judges are willing to rule against the administration when constitutional lines are crossed. The next 48 hours will decide whether Lopez is released on bond and whether ICE recalibrates its approach in similar cases. If appeals courts uphold Dudek's reasoning, this could reshape the future of immigration detention in America. If they reverse, it could give the Trump administration new momentum to press its enforcement agenda even harder. What makes this case even more striking is how little coverage it received from mainstream outlets. The reporting came not from cable news or major newspapers, but from an independent Substack publication called Migrant Insider. Once again, independent journalism is leading on a story with national significance. That fact alone should raise questions about how immigration policy is covered in the United States and why some of the most shocking developments emerge first from outside the corporate media system. To wrap this up, we are looking at a breaking and potentially game-changing legal battle. Judge Kyle Dudek, a Trump-appointed federal judge, has joined a growing wave of jurists rejecting the administration's sweeping use of mandatory detention. It's a ruling with national and international consequences. It could free not just one Florida father, but change how immigration enforcement works across the country. Friends, this is exactly why justice matters. If you found this reporting valuable, hit that like button, subscribe for more breaking updates, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this ruling marks a turning point in U.S. immigration policy? Or will the administration find a way to double down? Stay tuned, because the next few days could decide how far this story goes.